This is Dr. Will Tuttle, and Madeleine and I just returned from a very inspiring and informative 4-week lecture tour to Southeast Asia and Taiwan. And I'd like to share some of the experiences and the adventures we had because I think it's very helpful for us in our vegan movement here in the West. So we started off flying on Thanksgiving Day, 2019, from San Francisco Airport to Bali. And when we landed in Bali, we had about 2 days of relaxation time to get adjusted and get to know some of the local vegan spots near the beaches and some of the local fishes. Love snorkeling. And then we were picked up by the local vegan activists under Dr. Susianto from Jakarta. And we had a tour of the Uluwatu temple, which is high overlooking the ocean. And the vegan movement is, and vegetarian movements both, are very much influenced by religion, especially Buddhism, also Hinduism. This is a Hindu temple. And we were very touched in Bali by just the tremendous sense of the sacred that is everywhere. There are shrines on every door, every business, along the sides of the roads, just everywhere. There's thousands and thousands of shrines where people make food offerings every day. And after going to this temple, we went to the main city in Bali, which is Denpasar, and gave a lecture there the following day, which was very well attended, about 300 people. And we stayed in a vegan hotel, a vegan restaurant. And it's part of a chain of vegan restaurants in Southeast Asia that are part of a Buddhist movement. So it's very interesting to see how this is spreading the vegan message. We also visited the Mother Temple. It was really spectacular. And then from there we flew to Jakarta, where Dr. Susianto had arranged a lecture in a vegan school, which is very interesting to see, a large-scale school that was basically vegan. They also had a hospital. So we toured the hospital, which was vegetarian, mainly vegan, as well as the school, which is vegetarian, mainly vegan, actually. The lecture was very well attended. On this case, about 500 people came. And we were joined on this whole tour, the first leg of the tour, by Phil Nikozis, who is a World Peace Diet facilitator and also a Hippocrates health educator. We went after Jakarta to Singapore. We flew to Singapore and gave 2 lectures there. We were there for a couple of nights. And while we were in Singapore, we also had a chance to tour a ship called the Ocean Warrior with the Sea Shepherd Foundation to protect whales and fishes and so forth from exploitation. That was very interesting and inspiring. They were getting ready to go out on another expedition. And I'll talk more about that maybe in another video. And then from there, we flew up to Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, which is a beautiful city. And we gave a couple of lectures there. These were organized by Dr. Vithi. And all of these local organizers are very active in the area, and they do annual conferences, veg fests in Indonesia, in Malaysia, in Singapore. They have a lot of interconnectedness and cooperate together. It was very inspiring to see how well they work together. And we gave several lectures in Kuala Lumpur, including one at the end to students at a Muslim college, university there. And they were just so nice and so interested. So it was just fantastic, actually, to give lectures in several different venues. We also launched the Tamil language version of the World Peace Diet. It was shipped to us to present to everyone in Kuala Lumpur. We also visited a famous cave, the Batu Cave, which is a very sacred site in the Kuala Lumpur area as well. And then we drove up to Penang, to Georgetown, Penang, and that's a beautiful drive. We got there in the evening and gave a lecture at a wonderful restaurant, a vegan restaurant with a strong vegan message and very healthy food. The food in general we found to be fantastic. And at this restaurant, it was called Pin Shin, and highly recommend Pin Shin restaurant. And then from there we flew up to Bangkok, Thailand, which is a huge city and very smoggy. It was kind of hard to be there for us after being in the beautiful countries before. But Bali I especially love because no building is allowed to be built that is taller than a coconut palm tree. So that's 3 stories is the maximum. And so in Bangkok, we really found ourselves in a big city. But we gave some great lectures. The first night, a lecture that was organized by a local vegan translator and activist. The second day, a conference that was also organized by the local Bangkok vegan community and had some really excellent speakers. And then from there, we flew up to Chiang Mai in northern Thailand and gave several lectures there as well, organized by the local vegan activists. One was a public lecture in a university, and one was at a yoga studio, a yoga ashram, actually. Very inspiring, an international community. We found ourselves, in many cases, with people who were working hard to share the vegan message. We gave interviews several times, radio and television, and had a chance to talk to local activists about how we can get the vegan message out better. And I was very impressed with the cooperativeness of the activists in these countries. After our lecture in Chiang Mai, we flew to Taiwan, and we were met in Taiwan at the airport by a whole cadre of vegan activists from the Bliss and Wisdom Foundation group, which is a Buddhist group that is just doing fantastic work. And they organized most of the events that we did in Taiwan over the next 10 days. And so we started out going up to Taroko Gorge, which is on the other side of the island. On the east side, it's less developed, and visiting an organic farm that was inspired by the spiritual practices. And it's really helped the local people to go vegetarian and go vegan, actually, and also to move toward an organic way of living, which is essential, I think, for veganism, because chemicals and traps that they were using actually were killing a lot of the birds and wildlife. And so the Bliss and Wisdom group, which is Buddhist, based on the vegan principles of compassion for all life, really worked with the local farmers to transition to organic, so they would stop killing the wildlife and the birds and the other animals. There were quite a few dogs, for example, in the community with only 3 legs because of the traps that were used to kill monkeys and other animals that were stealing the crops. So they also helped educate, actually, the farmers about spirituality and about the infinite life that we're all living, so they would have more compassion for other forms of life. So it was really an education of the farmers and of consumers. Bliss and Wisdom has started a whole chain of organic, vegetarian, mainly vegan stores. When we were there in 2014, they had about 70 of these stores throughout Taiwan. Now they have 130. So it's very inspiring to see the work they're doing to help bring organic and vegan food throughout the whole island of Taiwan. From there, we went back to Taipei, the main headquarters, and we gave quite a few different lectures over the next 8 days. We worked also with Tzu Chi, which is another Buddhist group that's also promoting veganism and doing a lot to help disaster victims all over the world. So I gave a lecture at their headquarters in Taiwan that went very well and was also live streamed, I think, all over their movement. And then we gave a whole series of lectures and dialogues through the Bliss and Wisdom community. Some of them were at farms, like we went to another organic farm that was created in order to help people transition out of drug addiction and prison by working on organic farms and going vegan. So it's very inspiring to see that. And another was at an animal sanctuary that had been a goat dairy, and now it's a sanctuary for goats and for other animals, especially tortoises and birds and fishes. It had been also an aquaculture operation as well. So now it's a vegan sanctuary. And so it was great to give a lecture there and a dialogue with a local Buddhist monk, and then go one night to a restaurant and have a whole lecture and Q&A with young local activists. These were not so much Buddhist, so this was very interesting. and very helpful, I think. And then we also gave a lecture and had a discussion at a beautiful school that had about 1,100 students. I think I'll do a whole presentation later, maybe on that school, but just fantastic to see the young people being so cared about, working hard in the school, gardens, making, growing their own food. This is for basically kindergarten through 12th grade, and they don't use cell phones. They're really encouraged to have a spiritual life and to grow their own food organically, to be vegan. And it's just a very loving, beautiful school. I was very impressed with, like I say, about 1,100 students. So it was big and very impressive. So and then we gave some concerts. Madeleine joined me on the silver flute for the final concert at the end of our stay, which was just after Christmas. And Madeleine also gave a vegan cooking class that was videotaped and will be televised. And we gave a talk at a vegan Rotary. The first vegan Rotary club in the world is in Taiwan, in Taipei. And they talked about their plans. They had very ambitious plans to create a vegan university. So it was very exciting to be with so many enthusiastic vegans. We were able to really spread the vegan message through the Bliss and Wisdom community, which is primarily vegan, but still a little bit vegetarian, still some dairy. So I felt like my purpose in many ways was to emphasize the devastating impacts of dairy products so that people really understand that clearly and go vegan fully. So I was very honored to be able to work with these people. They're doing great work. The organic stores they have also have classrooms where they study the Buddhist teachings so they can deepen their understanding of life as a spiritual adventure where compassion and kindness and empathy and cooperation are the most important thing. They have these upstairs restaurants where for $3 you can get all-you-can-eat vegan food and you wash your own bowl. I mean, we just loved it. It was good, healthy, organic vegan food for $3. All you can eat. It was really wonderful. We ate in many wonderful vegan restaurants in the entire tour. Met countless vegan activists, signed lots of books, and were able to hear from quite a few people that they had gone vegan due to the impact of the World Peace Diet. And also the impact of the local groups, the work that they're doing. We love to support and nurture local groups as best we can, because I think grassroots vegan activism on a planetary scale is the way forward. And so I just want to report back and say that in Southeast Asia and in Taiwan, there's a tremendous amount of energy and enthusiasm and cooperation promoting veganism. Taiwan, I still say, is the most vegan country in the world. It's really very inspiring to see how they're integrating vegan living into education, into healthcare, into government policy, into agriculture, and bringing organic, which is so important as well, and veganic actually too. So there's tremendous progress being made, and we're very grateful, deeply grateful to all the activists who were so cooperative and helpful in our time there. So thank you all for your efforts, and that's the report about our 2019 lecture tour to Southeast Asia and Taiwan. It was enormously inspiring, and may the vegan movement continue to grow and blossom into 2020.